Everything about Tower of Terror was unbelievable. I mean, when we first came up with the idea, the original idea was sort of, wouldn't it be cool to do like a free-falling type attraction in the dark? And so our ride engineers were looking at, different types of off-the-shelf ride systems that we could purchase and kind of wrap in a box. And nothing really sort of seemed to work. And then we were saying, well, maybe we look at some kind of a coaster type, we were thinking it was going to be a 2 or 3 seated attraction that would have an overhead roller coaster type bogey system. But after you did the drop and you kind of were going down to a run out, the ride engineers were really struggling with the braking mechanisms and keeping the vehicle from basically wanting to do a flip over itself as it was braking and decelerating. And so as we were chasing through all of these different coaster type options and other things, one of our executives from ride engineering came back and said, I think we're overthinking this. Why don't we this wants to be an elevator. Let's see if we can make this into an elevator. And so we reached out to a company that we had some past relations with and kind of gave them the pitch. And they were initially like, oh, there is no way. No way. You guys are describing this crazy rickety elevator that falls faster than if you jumped out of the building. So it's actually being pulled down and pulled up and it's moving really. Everything that we've tried not to do in the design of elevators for the last 100 years, you guys want us to do. Thank you, but no thank you. I mean, the size of the motors that we were talking about were huge. I mean, the only elevator motors of the size that we were going to need for this attraction were in use in like diamond mines in South Africa that go down like 1.5 miles below the surface of the earth to mine diamonds.
Wow.
So the size of the equipment that you were dealing with and the fact that it was a prototype attraction that had never been done before. And, we were struggling against how tall can you make it? We didn't want to have FAA warning beacons on top of the building. So we had to do the research on where are the local airports? How tall can the building be before you have to put the red blinky light on it? I mean, there were a myriad of things in play, just trying to get that attraction designed and built.
They say that's the thing that amazes me. So as you know, and if longtime listeners will know that we watched recently the, I think it's called The Imagineering Story is the title on Disney Plus. Yeah. And the thing that surprised me, the thing that was interesting from that and what you just said is there's this relationship between imagination and engineering. There we go. Between engineering and which is kind of the how-to versus the what it wants to be. Mm-hmm. And you guys, in a lot of cases, seems like you're willing to work sort of backwards in a certain sense where you say, this is what we want to achieve. Okay, now we're going to figure out how to do it. And even going to great lengths, like you're describing for the elevator system. And it kind of blew our minds because it's not simple, the thing you just described. It's not been done before. And for any engineer or architect, when you think of an elevator ride as you described, it's like, how did that even happen? Like, how was this approved?
It's crazy. I mean, one of the sayings that we had pulled together our whole group from design and delivery for a large group meeting, about a year and a half ago. And we were talking about, how do you boil down the essence of what we do? And one of the comments that was thrown out during the meeting is, well, basically we make the impossible possible through design. And, I think those 5 words just kind of sum it up perfectly. That's what we do. We are looking for ways to make the impossible possible through design. And it doesn't matter how challenging or how crazy the idea is, we're going to chase it to ground and figure out a way to build it if there's any possible way to make that happen.